Okay, so the equation of a circle that you'll see most often is the standard form, and it looks like this. In this equation, h and k are the center of the circle. Those are the coordinates. Notice that there is a subtraction symbol. That subtraction symbol is part of the equation. It's not part of the coordinate. So when you see like x minus 3, the coordinate's just like positive 3. Also, the radius right here, the radius of the circle, is squared. So if you're finding the radius from the equation, you have to take the square root of that number. General form of a circle, we're going to focus on that on the back of this, of these notes. So we're not really focusing on this right away, but we put it up there anyway. Okay, so the first example, write an equation of a circle with center 3, -2, and radius of 4. So what we're going to do is plug this into the equation right here. So it would be x minus 3 squared plus y minus -2 is just going to be positive. So y plus 2 squared equals, the radius is 4, so 4 squared would be 16. And that's it. So the way I remember where the numbers go is x always goes with the x and y always goes with the y, and that can help you. But that's the answer. Okay, number 2, we're going to do it again. Write an equation of a circle with center -4, 0, and a diameter of 10. We don't need diameter for the equation, we need radius. So the radius would be half of the diameter, which is 5. And then plugging it into the equation, x minus -4 would just be positive 4, so x plus 4 squared. And then y minus 0 squared equals 25. 5 squared is 25. Now, this y minus 0, you might be thinking, that's just y, and it is. It actually doesn't get written out like that. So if you have a 0 coordinate, this is how it would be written. X plus 4 squared plus y squared equals 25. And that's the standard form. So if you see like x squared just by itself or y squared by itself, that means there's a 0 as a coordinate for the center. But it could be either one, right? It could be, sometimes it'll be like x squared. Number 3, write an equation of a circle with the center to -9 and a radius of square root of 11. Square root of 11 squared would just equal 11. So keep that in mind. Then we're going to plug in our numbers, x minus 2 squared plus y plus 9 squared equals 11. That's it. For number 4, we're going to take the equation, and it asks us for the center and the measure of the radius. So the center would be 6, -3. So that's the center of the circle. And then the radius, take the square root of 25, and that's just 5. So just with this equation, you could graph that circle. Okay, for the next couple problems, we're going to look at the circle and figure out what the center is, the radius, and the equation. So looking at this circle, I noticed that it hits 12, -12, -12, and 12. So the center actually must be 0. So the center is at 0, 0. And then radius would be the distance from the center to the outside of the circle. From 0 to 12 is just 12 units. Then to write the equation, you would do x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 12 squared, 144. Now we don't leave it as x minus 0, it's just x squared plus y squared equals 144. So when the equation of a circle just has x squared and y squared, that means the center is at the origin. We're at 0, 0. Number 6. Number 6, it's not so obvious where the center is. You could maybe eyeball it, leave it hits right about here. If you're not that great at like eyeballing it and figuring out where the center is, the other way to do it is just use the coordinates. So the center would be the center of the x coordinates. Looks like the furthest left it goes is -6, and the furthest right is 8. So if you add those two numbers, divide by 2, 2 over 2 is 1. So your x coordinate would be 1. And then for the y's, the top number is 4, the bottom number is -10. So 4 plus -10 divided by 2 would give you the center there. -6 divided by 2 is -3. So there's your coordinates of the center. 1, -3. The radius, once you have the center, you can count the units to the outside to find the radius. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. So the radius is 7. And then to write the equation, x minus 1 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 49. Graph the circle, identify the center and the radius. So now they've given us the equation, we're going to graph it. Before we graph it, we need to know what the center is. The center is 3, 2. Just pulling that from the equation. And then the radius would be the square root of 9, which is 3. So then graphing the center to begin with. And then if the radius is 3, I'm just going to make like little marks 3 from the center. And then I can just connect the dots to make my circle. Okay, so that's standard form of a circle. Here's the thing though. On the EOC, they don't give you the equation in standard form. They give you the equation in general form and want you to change it into standard form before you graph the circle. So the other side is, it gets a little bit more challenging. Okay, so converting from general to standard form. So general form would look like x squared plus y squared plus 8x minus 2y minus 8 equals 0. And standard form looks like this, the one we worked with on the other page. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Okay, so how do we get from this to this? Before we start changing this, I want you to look at the problem at the bottom. We're going to work through this problem actually first, because it'll make the other ones make more sense. Okay, so here we're going to change this from standard to general form. So notice that x minus 4 squared, we would write it out like this, x minus 4 times x minus 4. And then y plus 3 squared, we'd write it out like this, y plus 3 equals 36. What we have to do is FOIL this. Do you remember FOIL? First, outside, inside, last from algebra? Some of you? Yeah. You do. Anybody else? Only a few. Okay. Well, I'm not going to spend like a whole day, or honestly, you could teach this for a whole week. I'm not going to spend a whole week teaching it because it really is a part of algebra, and it'll be a part of algebra 2 as well. If this is above your head or something that you haven't learned, just write this down and don't worry about mastering it. Honestly, these problems on the back here, are not part of your homework. They won't be on the chapter test. This is more just preparing you for the EOC and then also preparing you for algebra 2, which is next for a lot of you. So if this is above your head, it's okay. Just kind of check out and write this down. If it's not above your head, then stay with me. Yes?
Is algebra 2 a required class?
No. This is the last required class for graduation. You do have to have a math course, but it doesn't have to be algebra 2. Yes. Can it wait because I'm recording?
Wait, when's the test?
Oh, on this chapter?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yes. Okay. So right here we're going to FOIL. FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, last. So multiplying the first term, x times x is x squared. Outside, negative 4x. So I did negative 4 times x. Inside, negative 4x. And then last, negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Then I'm going to FOIL this as well. Y times y is y squared. 3y plus 3y plus 9 equals 36. So now I have all the terms. I'm working towards getting it to that general format that's on the top of your page. Okay, so I'm going to combine like terms. X squared minus 8x plus 16. Y squared plus 6y plus 9 equals 36. Now I'm going to put this, I need this equal to 0, so I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides. And x squared minus 8x plus 16 plus y squared plus 6y plus 9 minus 36 equals 0. I'm almost there. I have to combine my constants. So I have 16 here, 9, and negative 36. If I add these together, 16 plus 9 would be 25. Minus 36 is negative 11. So these have all been combined. And now putting it in the format that's at the top, I have x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 6y. And that's my format. So again, you won't have to do that for the homework or the test or anything, just. Okay, moving up to the top of the page. You got that down?
Wait, can you show that there? One more number for
Whoa. Got it?
Thank you.
Okay. So here we're going to go take it from general to standard form. So general looks like this, standard form looks like this. Standard form is the one that you can actually graph from. Step 1 is we're going to group. And step 2 is we're going to, this may not make sense until I show you what it means. Make squares. Yeah. Make squares by cutting the linear term in half, squaring it and adding it to both sides. Squaring it and adding it to both sides. Okay, so step 1, we're going to add 8 to the other side. And then we're also going to group it. So we're going to put x's with x and y's with y's. So x squared plus 8x plus y squared minus 2y equals 8. So we put our x's together and our y's together. We need to get a factor that looks like this. But in order to get that, we actually need a third term. So x squared plus 8x plus blank plus y squared minus 2y plus blank equals 8. Okay, so how do we know what goes in this blank? That's this step. Make squares by cutting the linear term in half, squaring it, and adding it to both sides. So our linear term is right here. This 8, we're going to cut it in half to get 4, and then square it. 4 squared is 16. And then whatever we add to this side of the equation, we also have to add over here. This one, same thing. Divide -2 by 2. That would be -1. -1 squared is just 1. And we add it to both sides. Then we can factor this. So the factors for this would be x plus 4, x plus 4. And for this one, because there's that subtraction symbol here, it's y minus 1, y minus 1 equals 25. So then you have x plus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 25. That's your standard form. Your center would then be -4, 1, and your radius is 5. Yep. And the math problems only get longer as you get into higher levels. That's why it's important to master each level. Okay, number 8, same thing. So we're just going to practice it now. And it gets easier as you go through them. So first step, just subtract 7 from both sides and group it. So x squared plus -8x plus y squared equals -7. Y squared is just by itself, so we don't have to worry about that right now. We are going to have to factor this one. So x squared minus 8x plus blank plus y squared equals -7. To get what goes in the blank, divide this by 2, so that would be -4, square it to get 16, and add it to both sides. So then your factor would be x minus 4 squared plus y squared equals 9. That's your standard form, you're done. The center is 4, 0, and your radius is 3. Number 9, same thing. We're going to first add 3 to the other side, get the constants on the other side, and then group it. X squared plus 4x plus blank plus y squared minus 6y plus blank equals 3. To get this blank, divide this by 2, which would be 2, and square it to get 4, and of course add that to the other side as well. And then here, divide this by 2 to get -3, and square that to get 9, and add it to both sides. Now our factors will be x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 16. And our center is at -2, 3, and our radius is at 4. And one more. Okay, so for number 10, before we do anything, I noticed that all the factors are divisible by 2, so I'm going to divide everything by 2 just to simplify it. X squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 2y plus 10 equals 0. Subtract 10 from both sides. And then group it. X squared minus 8x plus blank. Y squared plus 2y plus blank equals -10. Dividing this by 2 would be -4. Negative 4 squared is 16. Divide this by 2 to get 1 and square it to get 1. Then you're ready to factor it. X minus 4 squared plus y plus 1 squared. Oh, I forgot to add these to both sides. Plus 16 plus 1 equals 7 squared, which would be 49. Oh no, it's just 7, sorry. 7. Then our center is 4, -1, and our radius is square root of 7. For the other ones, when we took the square root, like square root of 16, it came out evenly to 4. But for this one, since it doesn't come out evenly, we're just leaving it as square root of 7. And that's it. Okay, so the homework is actually more based on the other side. For the homework, there are some problems where you have to like graph points.
Right.
If you have to graph points, you could just use these graphs to kind of sketch it out if you need to. There's also a problem that has answer choices that look like this. That's the answer. So if you get that problem, just choose that as the answer. And if you need help with the homework, let me know. Okay, so you can get a laptop, get started.